Have you ever wondered how a simple trip to the market could transform your language skills? Imagine the colorful stalls, the bustling crowds, and the perfect opportunity to practice real English in every interaction. Today, we're stepping into a world where everyday experiences become powerful learning moments. Welcome to LMJ English, where we believe that the best way to master a language is by living it. I'm thrilled to take you on this journey through a day at the market, a story that will show you how ordinary shopping experiences can become extraordinary language lessons. Before we dive into today's adventure, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our practical English learning stories. Your journey to fluency is just one click away. Now, let's step into the vibrant world of the market and discover how a simple shopping trip can become your most valuable English classroom yet. Morning preparations. The soft morning light filters through my curtains as I open my eyes, feeling a surge of excitement for the day ahead. Today is no ordinary day. It's market day, and I've been looking forward to it all week. For someone learning English like me, the local market isn't just a place to buy fresh produce. It's a living language laboratory where every interaction offers a chance to practice and improve. I stretch and glance at my clock. 7:15 a.m., perfect timing. The early morning hours are the best time to visit the market when the produce is freshest and the vendors are in good spirits. I swing my legs out of bed and walk to the window, drawing back the curtains completely to reveal a perfect blue sky. The weather couldn't be more ideal for my adventure today. What a beautiful day, I whisper to myself, practicing my English even in these private moments. Every opportunity counts when you're learning a language, even these small conversations with yourself. I head to the bathroom and quickly complete my morning routine, washing my face, brushing my teeth, and combing my hair. In the mirror, I notice my expression is bright with anticipation. Today, I will challenge myself to have at least 5 conversations in English at the market. Setting clear goals has been crucial in my language learning journey. Back in my bedroom, I carefully select my outfit for the day: comfortable jeans, a light blue t-shirt, and my favorite walking shoes. Comfort is key for a morning of walking around the market stalls. I also grab a small notebook and pen, slipping them into my pocket. This has become a habit of mine. Documenting new words and phrases I encounter throughout the day helps me remember them later. In the kitchen, I prepare a simple but energizing breakfast. I crack 2 eggs into a bowl, whisk them gently, and pour them into a hot pan. While the eggs cook, I toast a slice of bread and slice a ripe banana. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, especially when you have a language learning adventure ahead of you. You need energy to keep your mind sharp and focused. As I eat my breakfast, I mentally review some of the vocabulary I might need today: fruits, vegetables, numbers, basic greetings, and questions about prices. I also practice a few key phrases. How much is this? Could you please tell me the price? I would like to buy some. These fundamental expressions will be my tools for communication today. After finishing my meal, I wash the dishes and check my bag one last time. Inside, I have my wallet with just enough cash for today's shopping, my phone, reusable shopping bag that folds up neatly, and a small water bottle. Being prepared gives me confidence, which is essential when practicing a new language. Before leaving the house, I stand in front of the mirror and give myself a little pep talk. You can do this, I say in English. Every conversation is a chance to learn. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. This positive self-talk has become an important ritual in my language learning journey. Speaking a new language requires courage, and sometimes you need to be your own cheerleader. I lock the door behind me and step outside into the fresh morning air. My apartment is about 20 minutes from the local market by bus. As I walk to the bus stop, I greet my neighbors with a cheerful good morning. Each interaction, no matter how brief, is practice. At the bus stop, I join a small group of people waiting quietly. The bus schedule indicates it should arrive in 5 minutes. While waiting, I take deep breaths and continue to mentally prepare myself for the conversations ahead. I remind myself that most people appreciate the effort when someone tries to speak their language, even imperfectly. The bus arrives right on schedule, and I board with a smile, greeting the driver with a clear good morning. I find a seat by the window, my favorite spot. From here, I can watch the city wake up, shopkeepers raising their shutters, children walking to school, office workers hurrying with coffee cups in hand. These observations help me connect language to the real world around me. As the bus moves through the morning traffic, I feel my excitement growing. Today's market visit isn't just about buying fruits and vegetables. It's about growing my confidence, expanding my vocabulary, and taking another step forward in my English learning journey. Every word exchanged will be a small victory. Every new phrase learned a treasure to take home. The bus approaches my stop, and I press the button to signal to the driver. Gathering my belongings, I stand up, ready to disembark and begin my adventure. The market is just a short walk from here, and I can already feel the anticipation building with each step I take toward this colorful world of language opportunities. Arriving at the market, the moment I step off the bus, I can sense the energy of the market, even though it's still 2 blocks away. The distant hum of voices, the occasional burst of laughter, and even the faint aroma of fresh produce and flowers drifting through the air. All these signals tell me I'm approaching a place alive with activity and opportunity. As I turn the corner on a market street, the full scene unfolds before me, and I can't help but smile at the vibrant tableau. The marketplace stretches out in a colorful patchwork of stalls, tents, and carts, each one a different shade in this living painting. Red tomatoes gleam in the morning light, orange carrots stand in neat bundles, and green vegetables of every description create a verdant backdrop. The flower section adds splashes of pink, purple, and yellow, turning one corner of the market into a riot of color. Breathe it all in, I remind myself, practicing my internal dialogue in English. I've learned that thinking in English is just as important as speaking it. The sensory richness of the market makes it a perfect place to expand my descriptive vocabulary. The market is already bustling despite the relatively early hour. Vendors are arranging their displays with practiced hands, calling out greetings to regular customers, and proudly showcasing their freshest items. Shoppers move from stall to stall, some with purpose, others browsing leisurely. I notice people of all ages, elderly couples examining produce with experienced eyes, young professionals grabbing items before work, and parents with children in tow, teaching them the art of selecting the best fruits and vegetables. The sounds of the market create a symphony around me. Vendors call out their special offers, fresh apples, best price today, while customers negotiate in friendly banter. The rustle of paper bags, the clink of coins changing hands, the squeak of cartwheels on pavement. Each sound adds to the market's unique atmosphere. As I take my first steps into this sensory wonderland, I feel a flutter of nervousness in my stomach. Will I remember the right words? Will people understand my accent? Will I understand their responses? These concerns are natural for any language learner, but I push them aside and focus on my excitement instead. Each conversation today is an opportunity, not a test. I pause for a moment to observe how others are interacting. I notice a woman asking about the ripeness of some peaches, watching how she phrases her question and the gesture she uses. Learning a language isn't just about words. It's about the cultural patterns of communication, too. How close do people stand? How do they greet the vendors? What expressions do they use to show appreciation or consideration? I absorb these subtle lessons, preparing myself to participate. Taking a deep breath, I step toward the first stall that catches my eye, a colorful display of seasonal fruits. The apples are stacked in perfect pyramids, their red and green skins polished to a glossy shine. Berries sit in small baskets, their deep colors promising sweetness. Oranges and grapefruits form bright spheres of sunshine in their wooden crates. The fruit vendor, a middle-aged woman with laugh lines around her eyes, notices me looking and smiles warmly. "Good morning. Looking for something special today?" she asks. This is it, my first chance to practice. I feel a momentary pause as my brain works to formulate a response, bridging the gap between thought and speech that every language learner knows well. Then the words come. "Good morning. Yes, I'm looking for some fresh apples and maybe some berries." The interaction has begun, and with it, my day of language immersion at the market. The nervous flutter in my stomach transforms into excitement as I realize I understood her perfectly, and she understood me too. This simple exchange is the first of many stepping stones I'll cross today as I navigate the market, not just as a shopper, but as a language explorer. I move deeper into the market, all my senses engaged, ready to discover not just fresh produce, but fresh vocabulary, new expressions, and the confidence that comes with each successful interaction. The market is more than a place of commerce. Today, it's my classroom, and everyone here is potentially my teacher. Learning through shopping? The fruit vendor's friendly smile puts me at ease as I approach her colorful display. The initial greeting has broken the ice, and now I'm ready to engage in a more extended conversation, a perfect opportunity to practice my English in a natural setting. "These apples look very fresh," I comment, picking one up and feeling its weight in my hand. The smooth, cool surface of the fruit is reassuring, something tangible to focus on as I concentrate on forming correct sentences. "They came in this morning," the vendor replies cheerfully, "from an orchard just outside the city. Would you like to try one before you buy?" This unexpected offer momentarily catches me off guard. I hadn't prepared for this specific interaction. But that's the beauty and challenge of real-world language practice. You must adapt to unpredictable conversational turns. After a brief pause, I find the words, "Yes, I would love to try one. Thank you." She takes the apple from my hand, produces a small knife from her apron pocket, and skillfully cuts a slice, offering it to me on the flat of the blade. I take the piece and taste it, crisp, sweet, with just the right amount of tartness. "It's delicious," I say, genuinely impressed. "Very juicy and sweet." "How much are they per pound?" $2.50 a pound, or I can give you 4 nice ones for $3 today. Special price, she offers, demonstrating the common market practice of flexible pricing and bundling. This is where numbers come into play, a fundamental but sometimes challenging aspect of language learning. I mentally calculate the offer, practicing the numbers in my head before responding. "I'll take 4 apples, please," I decide, reaching for my wallet. As she selects 4 of the best apples from her display, I count out the exact amount, 3 $1 bills. The transaction is simple, but it represents a complete communication cycle in English, expressing interest, asking questions, understanding the response, making a decision, and completing the purchase. "Here you are," she says, handing me a paper bag with the apples. "Anything else I can help you with today?" I glance at the berries I had initially mentioned and decide to expand our conversation. "How about those strawberries? Are they sweet?" "Very sweet," she nods enthusiastically. "Just came in this morning, too. $3.50 for a basket." I examine the strawberries, plump and deep red. They do look tempting. "I'll take a basket of strawberries, too, please." As I hand over the additional money, I realize I've successfully completed 2 transactions with multiple exchanges in English. A small achievement, perhaps, but these incremental successes build both vocabulary and confidence. With my fruit purchases complete, I thank the vendor and move toward the vegetable section of the market. Each step takes me to a new potential conversation, a new opportunity to practice different vocabulary sets. The vegetable stalls offer an even more diverse visual feast. Leafy greens in various shades, root vegetables displaying earthy tones, and colorful peppers adding bright accents to the displays. I approach a stall where an older man is arranging a pile of vibrant orange carrots. "Good morning." I begin, now feeling more confident after my successful fruit buying experience. "Those carrots look very fresh." "Morning," he responds with a quick smile. "Yes, pulled from the ground yesterday. Best for your health. You cooking something special?" His question invites a more complex response than my previous interactions. This is a chance to practice constructing a longer answer and using future tense verbs. "I'm planning to make a vegetable soup this weekend," I explain, drawing on my prepared vocabulary around cooking. "I need carrots, onions, and maybe some potatoes." "Good choice," he nods approvingly. "Onions are over there." He points to a basket of yellow and red onions. "Potatoes just behind you. How many carrots you want?" "A pound of carrots, please," I say, watching as he places them on a small scale. The needle swings just past the 1-pound mark. "Little extra," he says with a wink. "Good customer bonus." This unexpected friendly gesture introduces me to a cultural aspect of market shopping, the small generosities that build customer loyalty. It also teaches me a new phrase, customer bonus. I make a mental note to record this expression in my notebook later. I complete the purchase of vegetables, carefully placing them in my reusable bag alongside the fruit. Just 2 stalls visited, and already my language practice has included greetings, descriptions, numbers, pricing, future plans, and even encountered an idiom. Each interaction builds upon the last, growing my confidence incrementally. What makes this learning so effective is its immediate relevance. Unlike vocabulary lists memorized from textbooks, these words and phrases are connected to real objects, genuine needs, and authentic human connections. When I use fresh to describe the apples or pound to request a quantity of carrots, I'm linking language directly to sensory experiences and practical outcomes. As I move away from the vegetable stall, I notice that my initial nervousness has significantly diminished. Each successful exchange reinforces my abilities and reminds me that perfect grammar isn't necessary for effective communication. The vendors understand me, respond appropriately, and we complete our transactions smoothly. The fundamental goal of language is being met. With my confidence growing, I decide to challenge myself with a slightly more complex interaction for my next purchase. The flower section beckons with its colorful blooms and rich fragrances, a perfect opportunity to practice descriptive language and perhaps learn the names of flowers I'm not familiar with in English. With each step through the market, my shopping bag grows heavier with purchases, but more importantly, my mental vocabulary bank expands with new words, phrases, and cultural insights, treasures far more valuable than the fresh produce I'm bringing home. Expanding vocabulary. The flower section of the market greets me with an explosion of color and fragrance that instantly lifts my spirits. Unlike the practical purchases of fruits and vegetables, buying flowers feels like a celebration, a perfect opportunity to explore more expressive and descriptive language in English. Rows of buckets hold blooms of every variety imaginable. Stately sunflowers with their massive yellow faces, delicate roses in shades from pure white to deep crimson, cheerful daisies, elegant lilies, and countless flowers whose names I don't yet know in English. The air is perfumed with their mingled scents, creating an almost intoxicating atmosphere. I approach a stall where a woman in her 50s is artfully arranging bouquets. Her hands move with practiced efficiency, selecting blooms and greenery that complement each other perfectly. Several completed arrangements stand in tall vases, showcasing her skill. "Good morning." I begin, now comfortable with this standard greeting after my earlier interactions. "Your flowers are beautiful." She looks up and smiles warmly. "Thank you. Are you looking for something special today? A gift perhaps, or something to brighten your home?" Her question offers me a choice of responses, a chance to expand my conversation beyond the basics. I decide to use this opportunity to learn some new flower names. "I'd like something colorful for my apartment," I explain, "but I don't know the names of many flowers in English. Could you tell me what these purple ones are called?" I point to a bucket of striking blooms with star-shaped flowers clustered on tall stems. "Those are larkspurs," she explains, pulling one stem from the bucket to show me more closely. "They're perfect for adding height to arrangements. And these," she points to small, delicate purple flowers with yellow centers, "are asters. Both have such a lovely shade of purple, don't they?" Larkspurs and asters. I repeat, committing the new words to memory. "Yes, the color is very vibrant." I try out this descriptive adjective, hoping it's appropriate. "Exactly. Vibrant is the perfect word," she confirms enthusiastically. "Would you like me to create a mixed bouquet with these purple flowers and some complementary blooms?" The word complementary is new to me in this context, but I understand it from the context of her arranging different flowers together. This is how vocabulary often expands in real-world settings, through contextual understanding rather than explicit definitions. "Yes, please," I respond. "What would go well with the purple flowers?" "I think some yellow sunflowers would create a beautiful contrast," she suggests, already reaching for the tall, dramatic blooms. "And perhaps some white daisies to soften the arrangement. Maybe a touch of greenery for balance." Each suggestion introduces new descriptive language: contrast, soften, balance, terms that apply specifically to visual aesthetics and design. These aren't words I would typically encounter in basic language lessons, yet they're incredibly useful for expressing preferences and discussing visual elements. "That sounds perfect." I agree, watching with fascination as she selects each stem with careful consideration, building the bouquet with artistic precision. As she works, I decide to practice asking about prices, but in a more nuanced way than my earlier straightforward inquiries. "May I ask about the price range for your bouquets? I should be mindful of my budget." This phrasing feels more sophisticated than my earlier "how much is this?" and represents my growing comfort with the language. "Of course," she nods understanding. "The arrangement I'm creating for you will be about $15. Is that within your budget? I can adjust by adding or removing some stems if needed." This response introduces the useful concept of price flexibility and adjustments, teaching me how to negotiate politely if necessary. "That price is fine," I assure her. The bouquet is worth it. The flowers are so fresh and lovely. As she continues arranging, I notice a bucket of roses in various colors and decide to learn more specific vocabulary. "Those roses are beautiful too. Do the different colors have special meanings in your culture?" My question moves beyond transactional language into cultural knowledge, another dimension of language learning that's difficult to acquire from textbooks alone. She smiles, clearly pleased by my interest. "Yes, they do. Red roses symbolize love and passion, of course. Pink represents admiration and gratitude. Yellow roses mean friendship and joy. White stands for purity and new beginnings." This wealth of cultural information adds another layer to my vocabulary, not just the color terms, but the concepts they symbolize. I'm learning not just words, but cultural associations that help me understand how native speakers think about these objects. That's fascinating. I respond genuinely. In my culture, we also associate flowers with different meanings, but some are different. Learning these cultural aspects is as important as learning the language itself. She nods in agreement as she wraps the completed bouquet in paper. Language and culture are inseparable. You speak English very well, by the way. Where are you from? This compliment boosts my confidence, and her question opens the door to more personal conversation, moving beyond the transactional into relationship-building discourse, another important aspect of language mastery. As I pay for my beautiful bouquet and thank the flower seller, I realize how much richer this interaction was compared to my earlier purchases. I've acquired specific vocabulary, larkspur, aster, complementary, vibrant, cultural knowledge, the symbolism of rose colors, and practiced more complex sentence structures. Walking away with my flowers carefully cradled in one arm, I feel a surge of satisfaction. The market is proving to be exactly the language immersion experience I had hoped for, teaching me not just isolated words, but how those words function within the cultural and social fabric of everyday interactions. Overcoming language barriers? As I continue my journey through the market, bouquet in one hand and shopping bag in the other, I find myself drawn to a stall I hadn't planned to visit. The display features jars of homemade preserves, honey, and what appears to be specialty condiments. The colorful labels and artisanal presentation catch my eye, and I decide this will be an excellent opportunity to challenge myself with vocabulary that might be outside my familiar food-related terms. I approach the stall, where an elderly man is arranging jars on a tiered display. Unlike the previous vendors who greeted me first, he's absorbed in his task and doesn't immediately notice me. This presents a slightly different social scenario. I'll need to initiate the interaction completely on my own. Excuse me. I begin, using a polite attention getter. These look interesting. What kinds of preserves do you sell? The man looks up, seemingly pleased by my interest. He launches into a detailed description, speaking rapidly with enthusiasm for his products. Well, I've got my award-winning strawberry jam here, made with berries from my own garden. Then there's the blackberry preserve. That's a family recipe, been making it for 40 years. Over here we've got some specialty items like the spiced apple butter and the cranberry chutney, which goes wonderfully with cheese or poultry. His rapid speech and unfamiliar terms like chutney and apple butter create exactly the kind of challenging language situation I need to practice handling. I can follow the general meaning, but several specific words escape me. This is the reality of language learning. Sometimes you understand 70% and need to navigate around the 30% you missed. I smile and nod as he speaks, but when he pauses for breath, I decide to practice an essential language learning skill, asking for clarification. I'm sorry, could you explain what chutney is? I'm not familiar with that term. This direct request for definition is one strategy for overcoming vocabulary gaps. His expression brightens at the chance to explain. Of course, chutney is a kind of sweet and savory condiment, usually made with fruits, vinegar, sugar, and spices. It originated in Indian cuisine, but has become popular in British and American cooking too. It's tangier than jam. You wouldn't spread it on toast, but it's delicious with cheese or meats. His explanation is perfect, clear, informative, and accompanied by contextual information about how the item is used. I now understand not just the definition, but the cultural context of the food item. That sounds delicious, I respond. And what about apple butter? Is it actually made with butter? He chuckles at my question. No butter at all. It's called butter because of the smooth, spreadable consistency. It's basically apples cooked down very slowly until they caramelize and become thick and rich. We spice it with cinnamon, cloves, and a touch of nutmeg. Wonderful on toast or stirred into oatmeal. This exchange teaches me two important food terms along with their cultural context, but more importantly, it reinforces a crucial language learning strategy. Don't pretend to understand when you don't. Asking for clarification shows respect for accurate communication and usually results in helpful explanations. Encouraged by his friendly responses, I decide to try another strategy for handling unfamiliar language, inferring meaning from context and confirming my understanding. I point to a jar with dark purple contents. Is this the blackberry preserve you mentioned? The one from your family recipe? Good eye, he confirms. That's exactly right. Would you like to sample some? I've got crackers here for tasting. The offer to taste presents another minor language challenge: how to politely accept or decline samples. I opt to accept. Yes, I'd love to try it. Thank you. He opens a jar and spreads a small amount on a plain cracker, handing it to me. The preserve is delicious, sweet but not too sweet, with the distinctive tanginess of blackberries. This is excellent, I comment after tasting. I can taste the tartness? Is that the right word to describe this slightly sour quality? This is another useful strategy, using a word I'm not completely confident about, but framing it as a question to check its accuracy. Tartness is exactly right, he confirms with an approving nod. Good word choice. The natural acidity of the berries gives it that pleasant tartness. We don't overpower it with sugar like the commercial brands do. His affirmation of my word choice boosts my confidence, and his additional explanation expands my understanding of how the term is used in context. As our conversation continues, I encounter another challenging moment when he uses an idiom I'm not familiar with. Describing his honey, he says, "This wildflower honey is flying off the shelves this season. Can barely keep it in stock." The phrase "flying off the shelves" momentarily confuses me. My mind briefly pictures jars literally flying before I realize it must be a figurative expression. Rather than letting it pass, I decide to ask directly. Flying off the shelves? Does that mean it's selling very quickly? Exactly, he confirms. It's an expression we use when something is selling very fast. Good catch. You speak English very well. This small victory, correctly guessing an idiom's meaning and confirming it, feels significant. Idioms and figurative expressions are often the most challenging aspects of language learning because they can't be interpreted literally. As I examine the various preserves, trying to decide which to purchase, I realize I'm having a lengthy, nuanced conversation about a specialized topic. Just 30 minutes ago, I was nervous about asking the price of apples, and now I'm discussing the subtleties of preserve making and correctly identifying idioms. This progression illustrates an important truth about language learning. Confidence and ability grow through practice, especially when you're willing to navigate through moments of uncertainty and employ strategies for clarification. I select a jar of the blackberry preserve and the mysterious cranberry chutney, curious to try this new food at home. As I pay for my purchases, I feel a sense of accomplishment that goes beyond the items in my shopping bag. Each conversation at the market has presented different challenges, and each time I've found ways to navigate through them. Asking direct questions, inferring from context, checking my understanding, and learning new expressions along the way. As the preserve vendor carefully wraps my jars in paper to prevent breakage, he offers a parting piece of advice. The chutney pairs wonderfully with sharp cheddar cheese, if you're interested in trying that combination. This final exchange introduces yet another useful phrase. Pairs with, expanding my vocabulary around food recommendations and combinations. I thank him for both the preserves and the suggestion, adding another successful interaction to my growing collection of market conversations. Walking away from the stall, I realized that what initially seemed like barriers, unfamiliar words, rapid speech, idiomatic expressions, actually became doorways to deeper language learning. Each obstacle presented an opportunity to employ a different strategy, and each strategy strengthened a different aspect of my language skills. The market experience is teaching me that true language fluency isn't about knowing every word in advance. It's about having the tools to navigate through uncertainty, to build bridges across gaps in understanding, and to continually expand your linguistic territory through authentic interactions. With my shopping bag now considerably heavier with fruits, vegetables, flowers, and preserves, I decided to take a short break. Finding an empty bench at the edge of the market, I sit down to rest and observe the bustling scene around me. This moment of pause gives me time to mentally review the conversations I've had so far, cementing the new vocabulary and expressions in my memory. I've overcome several language barriers today, and each success has built my confidence for the next challenge. The market still holds many more opportunities for learning, and I'm ready to embrace them all. Making connections. After my brief rest, I feel refreshed and ready to continue my market exploration. My shopping bag contains the essentials I came for, but I realize the market offers more than just goods. It presents opportunities for less structured, more social interactions that could further enrich my language experience. Near the bench where I've been sitting, I notice a small stand serving coffee and pastries. Several people are gathered around small tables, chatting amicably as they enjoy their refreshments. This cafe area seems like the perfect place to practice conversational English in a more relaxed setting. I approach the counter where a young barista greets me with a friendly smile. "What can I get for you today?" "A small coffee, please." I order, then spot some interesting-looking pastries in the display case. Pointing to one that resembles a twisted bread with seeds on top, I add, "And what is that pastry called?" "That's a pretzel croissant," she explains. "It's a bit of a hybrid, has the buttery layers of a croissant, but the shape and some of the flavor of a pretzel. Quite popular." "That sounds delicious," I respond. "I'll try one, please." This simple exchange introduces me to a specialized food term I wouldn't encounter in language textbooks. As she prepares my order, I notice the coffee menu lists various specialty drinks with names I'm not familiar with. This provides another opportunity to learn culturally specific vocabulary. "I notice you have something called a London fog on your menu," I comment, indicating the chalkboard. "What kind of drink is that?" The barista lights up on my question. "It's an Earl Grey tea latte. So Earl Grey tea with steamed milk and a touch of vanilla. It got that name because the color and the way the milk swirls into the tea resembles a foggy day in London. Would you like to try that instead of coffee?" "I'll stick with coffee today, but thank you for explaining," I reply, filing away this cultural knowledge for future reference. Maybe I'll try the London fog next time. With my coffee and pretzel croissant in hand, I look for a place to sit. Most tables are occupied, but I notice an older woman sitting alone at a table for two, reading a newspaper. This presents an opportunity for a different kind of social interaction, asking to share a table with a stranger. I approach her table and wait for her to look up from her paper. When she does, I smile and ask, "Excuse me, would you mind if I share your table?" The others seem to be taken. "Not at all. Please join me," she responds warmly, folding her newspaper to make space. As I sit down and arrange my coffee and pastry, I consider how to begin a conversation. In language learning, initiating small talk with strangers is a valuable skill that extends beyond the transactional exchanges I've practiced at the vendor stalls. "Thank you," I begin. "It's quite busy here today. Do you come to this market often?" This opener, commenting on the shared environment and asking a simple question, works perfectly. The woman sets aside her newspaper completely and smiles. "Every Saturday for the past 15 years, she replies with obvious pride. I've watched some of these vendors' children grow up and start their own stalls. How about you? You seem to be enjoying the market. Her friendly response opens the door to more extended conversation. This is only my second visit, I explain. I'm learning English, and the market seems like a perfect place to practice with real conversations. What a clever approach, she exclaims. Much better than just studying from books. Where are you from originally? This question leads us into a pleasant conversation about cultural differences, language learning, and her own experiences traveling abroad. She speaks clearly but naturally, occasionally using colloquial expressions that I haven't encountered before. When she mentions that a particular vendor drives a hard bargain, I use the context to guess that it means the vendor negotiates firmly, but I decide to check my understanding directly. Drives a hard bargain. Does that mean he doesn't reduce his prices easily? I ask. Exactly right, she confirms. It means someone who negotiates strongly and doesn't give discounts easily. You're picking up these expressions quickly. Her encouragement boosts my confidence, and our conversation flows more easily. I learn that she's a retired English teacher, which explains her clear speech and patience with my occasional pauses or questions. When I mention this observation, she smiles broadly. Once a teacher, always a teacher, she says with a laugh. Old habits die hard. 2 more idioms in one short response. Rather than interrupting the flow to ask about both, I focus on the second one, which is less clear from context. Understand, once a teacher, always a teacher, but what does old habits die hard mean exactly? I ask. It means that behaviors or patterns we've established over a long time are difficult to change or stop, she explains. So even though I'm retired, I still naturally fall into my teaching patterns when speaking with someone learning English. That's a useful expression, I comment. We have something similar in my language. This comparison of idioms across cultures adds another dimension to our conversation. As we continue chatting, other market goers occasionally stop by our table to greet my new acquaintance, whom I learn is named Margaret. Each brief interaction exposes me to different speaking styles, greeting forms, and social dynamics. Margaret naturally includes me in these exchanges, introducing me to her friends and acquaintances. This is my new friend, she tells one couple who stopped by. She's using the market as her English classroom. Isn't that resourceful? These introductions provide practice with social niceties and small talk. Thanking people for the introduction, responding to compliments about my English, and asking simple follow-up questions to show interest. These social lubricants are critical aspects of language fluency that often receive less attention in formal language education. By the time I finish my coffee and pastry, I've had a 20-minute conversation filled with natural language use, cultural insights, and new vocabulary. Margaret and I exchange contact information, and she invites me to join her at the market next Saturday. I'd be happy to introduce you to more of my favorite vendors, she offers. Many of them love sharing the stories behind their products, which would be excellent listening practice for you. This unexpected connection represents the most valuable outcome of my market visit. Not just the products I've purchased or even the language I practiced, but the beginning of a relationship that could provide ongoing opportunities for authentic conversation and cultural immersion. As I thank Margaret and gather my shopping bags, I reflect on how this market visit has evolved from simple transactional exchanges to a rich tapestry of diverse interactions. The connections made today, from brief exchanges with vendors to my extended conversation with Margaret, demonstrate that language learning happens most effectively through genuine human connections. I weave my way back into the main thoroughfare of the market, my confidence significantly bolstered by the successful social interactions I've navigated. With one new friendship formed and invitations for future meetings, My language learning journey has gained a valuable social dimension that textbooks and language apps simply cannot provide. Reflections and progress. As the market day approaches its end, I find myself drawn to a quiet corner where several benches overlook a small fountain. The gentle sound of water provides a soothing backdrop as I settle onto an empty bench, carefully placing my shopping bags beside me. This moment of stillness offers the perfect opportunity to reflect on my language learning experience today. I take out my small notebook and pen, ready to capture the new vocabulary and expressions I've encountered. Recording new language immediately after using it helps cement it in my memory and creates a personalized resource I can review later. I begin listing the words and phrases that were new to me today, organizing them by category. Market items: larkspur, aster, chutney, apple butter, pretzel croissant. Descriptive words: vibrant, tart, complimentary expressions: flying off the shelves, drive a hard bargain, old habits die hard. Cultural knowledge: rose color meanings, London fog tea origins. Looking at this list, I feel a sense of accomplishment. Each word represents not just vocabulary growth, but a successful human interaction, a moment of connection facilitated by language. Unlike memorizing words from a textbook, these terms are anchored in real experiences, making them more likely to stick in my long-term memory. I also take a few minutes to jot down what worked well in my conversations today, which strategies help me navigate through language barriers. I note that asking direct questions about unfamiliar terms was consistently effective. People responded positively to my curiosity and willingly explained new concepts. I also found that confirming my understanding of idioms helped prevent misunderstandings while demonstrating my engagement in the conversation. As I write, I compare today's market experience to my first visit several weeks ago. The contrast is striking. During that first visit, I had limited myself to transactions that could be completed with minimal speaking, pointing at items, holding up fingers to indicate quantities, and relying heavily on the universal language of smiles and nods. I left with the groceries I needed, but missed countless opportunities for language practice. Today couldn't have been more different. Every purchase became a conversation, every interaction a chance to learn. I ventured beyond my comfort zone repeatedly, initiating discussions about unfamiliar items, asking for recommendations, and even striking up a friendship with Margaret. My vocabulary expanded, my confidence grew, and my ear became more attuned to the rhythms and patterns of natural English speech. This progress didn't happen by accident. It came from deliberately changing my approach, from viewing the market not just as a place to buy goods, but as a language immersion environment rich with learning opportunities. It also came from applying specific strategies for overcoming language barriers rather than avoiding challenging situations. As I continue reflecting, I notice a young couple sitting on a nearby bench, conversing animatedly about their market purchases. I catch fragments of their discussion about various vendors and which ones offer the best value. Their natural conversation provides another opportunity for listening practice, absorbing the cadence of native speech, noticing how they transition between topics, and picking up casual expressions. This passive listening complements the active speaking practice I've engaged in throughout the day. Language learning requires both input, listening, reading, and output, speaking, writing, and today I balance both elements effectively. Looking around the market, I observe how it's beginning to wind down. Some vendors are starting to pack up their unsold goods, offering last-minute discounts to clear their inventory. The crowds have thinned, creating a more relaxed atmosphere. These observations provide more vocabulary practice as I silently name the actions I'm witnessing: packing up, discounting, clearing inventory, winding down. I check my watch and realize I've been at the market for nearly 3 hours. What began as a simple shopping trip has evolved into an immersive language experience that exercised multiple skills: listening, speaking, reading signs and labels, writing notes, and even thinking in English. This holistic practice is far more effective than compartmentalizing language skills into separate activities. Before leaving, I set some goals for my next market visit. I want to learn more specialized vocabulary for different types of produce. Practice negotiating prices with friendly vendors. Initiate at least 3 conversations with shoppers or vendors about topics beyond transactions. Meet Margaret again and build on our new friendship. Setting specific, achievable goals helps maintain motivation and provides direction for future learning experiences. Each market visit can build upon the last, gradually expanding my comfort zone and linguistic abilities. As I gather my shopping bags and prepare to head home, I take one last look around the vibrant marketplace that has served as my classroom today. The colorful stalls, diverse vendors, and lively atmosphere have provided the perfect backdrop for authentic language practice. I feel a deep appreciation for this community space that offers so much more than just fresh produce and handmade goods. Walking toward the bus stop, I mentally review the day's achievements. I entered the market with some nervousness about speaking English, but leave with increased confidence and tangible progress. My shopping bags contain fruits, vegetables, flowers, and preserves, but my mind carries something even more valuable: new language skills, cultural insights, and the seeds of new friendships. The real measure of today's success isn't just in how many new words I learned, but in how the experience has transformed my relationship with the English language. It's no longer just a subject to study, but a living tool for connection and discovery. Each conversation, each new word understood or correctly used, has built my confidence and reinforced my belief that I can achieve fluency through consistent practice and real-world engagement. As I board the bus home, I'm already looking forward to reviewing my notes, practicing the new vocabulary, and returning to the market next week to continue this rewarding journey of language learning through everyday experiences. Conclusion: what an incredible journey our day at the market has been. From those first nervous steps among the colorful stalls to confidently navigating conversations with vendors and making new friends, we've seen how powerful real-world language immersion can be. The market isn't just a place to shop. It's a vibrant classroom where every interaction becomes a stepping stone toward English fluency. Remember that language learning is most effective when it's connected to authentic experiences. The vocabulary you acquire while examining fresh produce, negotiating prices, or discussing the meaning of flower colors will stay with you precisely because it's anchored in real sensory experiences and human connections. If you've enjoyed following along with this market venture, be sure to hit the like button and share this video with fellow English learners who might benefit from these practical learning strategies. Don't forget to subscribe to LMJ English for more stories that bring language learning to life through everyday experiences. What everyday situations do you use to practice your English? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your ideas might inspire others on their language learning journey. And if you tried any of the strategies we discussed today, let us know how they work for you. Thank you for joining me on this language learning adventure. Until next time, remember that every conversation is an opportunity to grow, and consistency is the key to mastering English. Keep practicing, stay curious, and embrace the journey. Essential vocabulary from our market story. Market, noun, a place where people gather to buy and sell goods, especially fresh produce and handmade items. Example: the market is full of colorful stalls and friendly vendors. Vendor, noun, a person who sells things, especially at a market or on the street. Example: the fruit vendor offered me a sample of her freshest apples. Produce, noun, fresh fruits and vegetables. Example: the market had an abundance of fresh produce from local farms. Stall: noun, a small stand or booth where goods are displayed and sold. Example: each stall in the market specialized in different products. Bargain: verb, to negotiate the price of something. Example: in some markets, it's common to bargain with vendors for better prices. Idiom: noun, an expression whose meaning cannot be understood from the words it contains. Example: flying off the shelves is an idiom meaning something is selling quickly. Interaction: noun, communication or direct involvement with someone. Example: each interaction at the market improved my speaking confidence. Confidence: noun, the feeling of being certain about your abilities. Example: my confidence grew with each successful conversation. Clarification: noun, the act of making something clearer or easier to understand. Example: I asked for clarification when I didn't understand a word. Immersion: noun, the act of becoming completely involved in an activity or interest. Example: market visits provide excellent language immersion opportunities. Progress: noun, movement toward a goal, development. Example: I can see my progress in English when I compare today to last month. Consistent: adjective, acting or done in the same way over time. Example: consistent practice is key to improving language skills. Vocabulary: noun, the body of words used in a particular language. Example: my market visit expanded my food-related vocabulary. Navigate: verb, to find one's way through a complex situation or place. Example: I'm learning to navigate through challenging conversations. Transaction: noun, an instance of buying or selling something. Example: each transaction at the market became a language learning opportunity. Authentic: adjective, genuine or real, not copied or fake. Example: the market provides authentic language experiences you can't find in textbooks. Encounter: verb, to meet or experience something unexpectedly. Example: I encountered several new expressions during my conversations today. Context: noun, the circumstances that form the setting for an event. Example: understanding words in context helps you remember them better. Fluency: noun, the ability to speak or write a language easily and accurately. Example: daily practice at the market will help you achieve fluency faster. Strategy: noun, a plan of action designed to achieve a goal. Example: asking direct questions is a good strategy for learning new vocabulary.